And then I could go out afterwards and get a bun. All this for 15 cents and get a bus back to Fordham. Aunt Ada was a member of the Congregational Chapel, and she made me go. And I didn't want to go because I'm Jewish. And I didn't know much about this fellow Jesus, and I was very uncomfortable. And I didn't want to go, but she made me go. She said I had to go because there were a lot of army trucks and tanks up and down the roads, and she was afraid I'd get run over or get into trouble while she was in chapel. So I had to go with her every Sunday, morning and evening, and Sunday school, until my mother finally put her foot down and said I shouldn't have to go. I was very uncomfortable doing this. Everything had to be recycled, or as it's called, salvage. They collected bones. I'm not sure what they do with bones, but we collected paper and tin cans and everything that we recycled for the war effort. They also came around and cut down everybody's railings. And whether they ever used them or not, I never did find out. I just imagine a mountainous pile of railings rusting away somewhere. Whether they ever used them, I don't know, but here they are. They cut down railings in the park in Fordham in 1941-42. The railings have never been replaced. The last time we were there, the railings were still not back up. People were provided with shelters called Anderson shelters. They were 14 pieces of corrugated iron. They dug a trench, you dug a hole 4 feet deep. You erected this thing and covered it with dirt. These people had noticed getting into the Anderson shelter. We had one in the backyard. And they're carrying the gas masks. That's what those are. This is what it was like inside. Rather Spartan and wet usually because the rain came in. This is in somebody's two people's backyards. You can see on the left a better idea of what it looked like. This picture I found on the net is a woman salvaging whatever she had left after an area after a house was destroyed. People who were too old or not well enough to go into the Army or the Air Force or the Navy joined the Home Guard. The idea was to defend the homeland if we were attacked or invaded. They built all these pillboxes around to protect the crossroads from tanks. This is another picture of that I showed before. Behind this hedge, over here by the railings, they dug slit trenches, and also both on this side of the road. But on this side of the road is a cemetery, and they dug a trench in the cemetery. Now whether they hit a grave or not, I don't know. But on each of these corners, there's a slit trench that the Home Guard would defend against the Germans' invasion. There was an old car on the side here, which was supposed to be a roadblock, and a barbed wire barricade. It was there long after the war. We were told not to touch anything like this if we saw them. These were called butterfly bombs. They were designed to kill people. And what they did, they dropped them out of a plane, they opened up, the propeller would go around, and they would be armed when they hit the ground. If you touched it, it blew up. And they were meant to kill kids and innocent civilians. We were told, there was posters all over the place, see anything like this, report it, do not touch it. It's very agricultural in East Anglia. This shows the fields and somebody harvesting the wheat. Wheat, by the way, corn in England is not used. They don't, maybe they do now. It's called maize and it's only fed to animals. People don't eat it. When you're talking about corn in England, you're talking about wheat. And it was harvested at harvest time. And what I used to do, I'm going to go back a minute, is us as children would go to the fields during the harvest and carry sticks with us, and when rabbits ran out, we chased them and killed them, or try to kill them. So one day I was chasing this rabbit and it was screaming, and it's really scary. I still killed it. And one of the farmers said to me, "You don't, it's pregnant." So he gave me another one. I took it home to Aunt Ada. My mother was visiting. And my mother said, "I'm not going to eat that. It's like a cat. It's like eating a cat." Aunt Ada ate it, but I really couldn't touch a rabbit after that. Well, I was with Aunt Ada for nearly 4 years, and she was very, very good to me, and I loved her dearly. But I got sick. Went to the local doctor, couldn't cure me. I had this, anybody ever heard of scabies? It's really a nasty, nasty disease. It's called scabies, or it's called the itch. You itch in between your fingers, under your arms, in your groin, and it's unbearable. It's a tiny little mite that gets into your skin, burrows into your skin, lays its eggs, and it's unbearable. The local doctor didn't know what it was, so I came home again. It was very embarrassing to be cured of the scabies, because I had to go to what was called a cleansing center. I was about 9, and I had to take a bath in a wide open room. There were baths all over the place. This woman scrubbed me with a soap, and here I am, a young kid, naked, being scrubbed by a stranger. It was very, very embarrassing. The raids continued. Some people got what was called a Morrison shelter. It's like a table made out of iron, and you could use it as a kitchen table, and if there was an air raid, you climbed inside. That's what's going on here. We took shelter underground in various shelters wherever we could. This is a typical shelter. We had these bunks, and it was good and it was bad, because we take our bedclothes every night to the shelter, and we brought them back, and they were infiltrated with bed bugs. Bed bugs are the most awful things. You can't get rid of them. And we had these bed bugs in our furniture, in our bedding, our beds for a long time after that. But they're awful. Some people slept in the metro or the tube. These people were probably not very comfortable. This is the sleeping on an escalator. People sleeping on the train platform. This is while the trains were coming and going. First, the government would not put bunks in there because they didn't want people sleeping in the subways. What are you going to do? But this was not always safe. This is Holborn Station, people sleeping. There was one very, very serious accident. This was the bank station. The bomb went down and killed, I think, 400 people. It went right through and all the way. This was a shallow station. More pictures of the bombing. My dad was in the light rescue. He was sort of an air raid warden. The next thing that happened was a pilotless plane crashed. We thought it was a pilotless plane. It wasn't a pilotless plane, it was a missile. There were V1s, Vengeance weapons, and they were like small airplanes with nobody in it, but a half a ton of explosive. This is a picture, as you can see, of one coming in. They would come over, they were unguided. When they ran out of fuel, they would crash and explode. This is a close-up. They had this jet engine, and you could hear them coming. Unfortunately, they flew about 300 miles an hour. The airplanes could get under them or shoot them down, and so did the anti-aircraft fire, but a lot of them got through. I never will forget, I was 10 years old. The air raid siren went. We ran to the air raid shelters, and I saw one of these things coming across the sky. It was nighttime, and all I saw was the flame, and I could hear it. We didn't know where it was going to land. And I've never been so terrified, because we didn't know what was going to happen, and we ran to the air raid shelter. Fortunately for us, it landed maybe a mile or two away. It wasn't so fortunate for the people who were where it landed, but they were very destructive. The way that these were overcome was that the Allies overran France and overran the launch sites. But, these surface shelters were built all in the streets. They weren't very good, and they weren't very thick, and they wouldn't protect you unless the bomb landed maybe a block away. And also, they were dirty. People used to use them as toilets, and they were nasty places.